Hello. Hello.
Hi.
Hello, how are you?
I'm okay. How are you?
I'm good.
That's good.
Like, where's my hair? It's all fluffed up here on the top. How you guys doing?
Oh my god.
Better.
Oh, you're just playing.
So, did you guys ever drink that cold brew before?
Yeah.
Well, okay, I just thought I was looking for the iced tea one, right? And it was up on the shelf and it said cold brew, black, unsweetened, and then black sweet, right?
Yeah.
It was coffee, it wasn't tea. So I opened it up and I took a drink of it. I go, it kind of tastes like, I go, it's like, I don't know how to say it. It tasted like a sweet coffee without being bitter, you know? It was weird.
Yeah.
I kind of liked it.
No, it's good. It's good stuff. I don't use it very often because
You can't sleep afterwards.
no, coffee actually calms me. It's just like I don't use it very often in the wintertime because I don't like cold. So, but I don't
I
like
see.
heat either. So I usually drink it in the summertime to cool me off. And that's why I'm so pale is because I don't like sunlight. I hate sunlight.
I don't like it either, but that's okay. Let me see if I got everybody in here. Yep, I got everybody on here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Gotcha.
Sisters are
Get a
ridiculous.
wild vacation. No one else is going on a vacation. Usually the month of December, I lose a lot of students.
My best friend is coming down from
Tennessee. I'm supposed to be
Tennessee.
on holiday right now.
See? Where were you supposed to go, Thea?
I'm not going anywhere. My best friend's coming down from Tennessee to come see me this time.
Oh. How about you, Amaya?
Nothing really.
No?
Just work.
Yeah. Jocelyn, how about you? No vacation?
Are you talking to me?
Sure, Max. I'm asking everybody. Are you taking a vacation?
No, not really. Just gonna stay in because of COVID.
I know, huh? It's pretty bad. But usually the month of December, I lose a lot of students. They're like, I have to go to Mexico for a whole month. I go, what do you do for a whole month? They go, drink. I go, for a whole month? They go, yep.
Both my parents are teachers, so they have the same thing. All of their students go to Mexico every year.
It's crazy, huh? I'm like, really, you just drink? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, that's it for a whole month? Don't you get tired? Nope. You drink some more.
I love holidays at my dad's house because my stepmom likes for me to drink, so she'll hand me drinks without me even asking. And she'll sneak me alcohol to my room so I can be in peace because I don't like the family gatherings. I'm a depressing person. Leave me alone. Never mind.
Family? Oh, I've been there before. I just pretend I'm old and tired. I think I need to take a nap. I'm gone. Turn the TV on, kick back. Don't have to listen to the drama, right?
Mm-hmm. Venetia.
Yes.
Where did you get your laminator from?
I got it from Amazon.
Oh, I went to go. I had my mom go buy me one while I was sick, and it wasn't doing anything. Like it was eating the paper with the laminator pouches, but it wasn't doing anything.
What were you trying to laminate?
I was trying to laminate all of my homework and my notes and everything, so it was nice and
neat.
It shouldn't be the thicker pouch.
Huh?
It shouldn't be the thicker pouch. Not the 5 something. It should be 3 something.
No, it was the pouch that it came with. Like it came with like 5 pouches to use for laminating.
Heat up properly?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I followed the directions to a T and it just wasn't taking the paper. And it laminated like the bottom half, but it wasn't coming out the other end.
Which one? Maybe you should return it, get something else.
I am today after class. I have to go.
I'll send you the link, the one I got, because it comes with the pouch and everything. Like
Okay.
the pouch with the cutter and the corner cutter and everything.
Okay.
I'll send you the link after Zoom. Okay.
Ooh, Lena, who's
Okay.
this?
Thank you.
I don't know who that girl is. That girl's hot. Ooh, she's so pretty.
Me?
I'm like, you know what? It's kind of like when I see people go to graduation, I'm like, who are these people? And they're like, I was in your class. I'm like, not that person was.
I always get ready, just not on the Zoom classes.
I know. I was looking
doing
like,
that.
wow, she looks pretty.
Don't
Not
nice
that you're
makeup.
not. Okay, not that you're not. I was like, wow. So you guys, we all clean up pretty nice, don't we?
I like to
Oh my
think that we
goodness.
try.
We try, huh?
Yeah.
Got a full
Depends on how much energy we have during the day.
right? I'm telling you, I have none on Saturdays and Sundays and Mondays. Yesterday, I have enough just to get in the shower so I don't look so bad. My hair doesn't get blown dry, my makeup doesn't get put on, okay? But I'm clean. Hi, Samantha.
That was me. I got food poisoning over the weekend. And
Oh,
my
God,
mom's like, this is the first time I've seen you without makeup in like a week.
that is the worst. The worst. I got that one time here and I was like, oh, I'm so sick.
Yeah, I was trying to go to school too. My mom's like, nope, I'm taking your keys. Don't even try it.
Oh, I came to work and Donovan goes, you need to go home like right now. He goes, you are just sweating everywhere. I'm like, I know it. I feel like death. It was bad. Okay.
I don't think anyone would have really liked me that day. I was told that I was somewhere between the Grinch and I forgot what
gray.
No, my mood.
Oh,
She said I was somewhere between the Grinch and the Zodiac Killer. I think is what she said. She was not having
just getting everybody in here. Make sure I'm taking roll. That everybody gets credit.
Oh, I gotta sign in. Hold on. Oh, that's not what I wanted. It won't let me sign in again. That's lovely.
Okay, I've got you. Who is this talking right now?
Athena.
Athena. Okay, I got you in here.
Oh, I'm gonna try and sign in for the 5-hour thing really quick.
Oh, okay.
But
and if you guys can't sign in on the clock thing, then just go and say, like, send a text message and say, I'm starting my time now, and then I'm ending my time. As long as you do that, then we'll be able to see. And when it's on the Zoom, I can always go back to the Zoom and check for attendance. You know what I mean? So really, you don't even have to do.
Did they fix my attendance thing from the Wednesday before Thanksgiving? Because it said that I was absent, but I wasn't.
Okay.
So I don't know.
Yeah. I've been taking roll and making sure I call everybody before I start to go on the class, just to make sure.
Yeah, I remember talking to you. That's why I was like, she saw me. We talked. Yeah. I don't know why she doesn't remember me being there.
But you know what? Sometimes there for a while I wasn't putting last names, so it could have been anything for that at that time. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Now I'm getting used to who kind of comes in early and who's. I know you by first names now. I just got to get the faces with it. Oh, now you're gonna eat on top of that? Okay, I don't even believe you.
Me?
Lena, she's like got this soup right up to the camera. I'm like, really?
Oh.
That's okay. I got my cold brew. Now it tastes nasty. It tasted pretty good for like about a second. I think I got an ounce of it down.
Oh, the sweetness went away?
Mm-hmm.
The sweetness?
It wasn't like the barbers. They were drinking. I'm like, this is like school, okay? So you can't have your alcohol in here either. Put it to the side. How bad is that, right?
They were trying to have fun.
And they were all in somebody else's garage, okay, on top of that. Like, we're all here, we're really here, I swear. And I'm like, Okay, so I'm gonna call roll here and see what where we're at over here. All right, wait, a couple more people here. Okay. Karina, no.
Oh, hello.
Hello. I got Shay. There was, oh, Karina, right? Karina. And somebody else that just came in. Well, we'll find out when I take roll, huh? When I don't call your name, you're gonna have to tell me who you are. Okay, I'm gonna start calling your names, okay? Amaya,
Here.
okay. Athena,
Here.
okay. Max,
Here.
okay. Jocelyn,
Yeah,
okay. Venetia,
I'm here, but I don't know if because I'm supposed to be on holiday, I took 1 week leave.
uh-huh.
Maybe that's not counted even if I'm here.
Are you taking this week off too?
Yeah, normally I'm on holiday right now.
Okay,
So
did you already like take a leave of absence? Is that what you're saying?
yeah, for
Okay,
1
so
week.
I'm not gonna count your time then. Yeah, you're right. Because you can sit in
I'm
class
just
and
here
go
to
through
attend the
time.
class, but I'm on leave for 1 week.
Yeah, so I can't count your hours for it, okay?
Yeah,
All
I
right,
know.
but you're allowed to sit through it, but I just won't count your hours.
Yeah. I told Donovan I'm gonna do the class, but it's fine even if I don't get credit. It's fine.
Okay. Ashley Hudson.
I'm here.
Okay. Samantha,
Here.
and that's H. Okay. Lena.
Here.
Lauren T.
Here.
Okay. Shay.
Here.
Here you are. Okay. Karina.
I'm here.
Okay. Now who did I not call? Because I didn't call somebody.
You didn't call me.
Lorena. Okay, that's what I thought it was. Okay, so everybody else I've called, right? All right. So we're on page 356. I'm just gonna like go through a review, okay, of what we did the last time, just to keep you caught up. So has everyone got page 355 completed in their study guide? Is there not anybody in here that needs to have any of that filled in, right? Okay, good. All right, then I'll start at the top where it says double process, right? Okay, let me share the screen. Let me get it. Oh, wait a minute. I got one more sitting in the waiting area. Somebody else there. Okay. I'm going to share the screen with you guys. Here we go. And let me know when you got Lightners on your screen. Right?
It's
Yeah, we
on.
can see it.
Okay, you guys got it?
It's up there.
All right. So basically what double process basically means is that you're going to decolorize and then recolorize the hair. All right. So if you haven't filled this in where it says double process technique in your workbook, it's recolorizing the hair to a shade that's desired, that's different from the decolorizing color. Okay, so basically it's telling you, all right, it's recolorizing the hair after it's been decolorized. Does that make sense? Basically, your decolorizing is removing that pigment, right? So we bleached her, all right? And then we're going to recolorize her with a toner. That's basically what they're talking about. So its color is applied to recolorize the hair if the desired shade is different than what can be achieved from decolorizing it alone. One more, hold on. Eva. Okay. All right, number one, the hair is decolorized to the desired degree. And then 2, the hair color is applied to create the final color result. Okay, so the first step would basically be when you're bleaching that hair, whether you're going to bring it up to a pale yellow or palish yellow. Okay, you decide what the end result is going to be, on how light it's going to be, and then we're going to choose our toner. And we decide we're going to recolor it. All right. Do you have on your workbook where it says 2 common reasons for recolorizing? Or is it filled in for you? It is? Okay. That one was to add more intensity, right? And to neutralize the remaining contributing pigment. Correct? Okay. And it says it's performed in 2 ways. Okay. The hair is decolorized or pre-lightened to the desired degree. And then number 2 is the hair is recolorized by applying the color to create the final color result. Okay. So everyone got that filled into their study guide or their worksheets. Okay. Then it says the lightener choices. Okay. And it has apply on the scalp for full design and then apply off the scalp for highlighting, right? Okay, let me see if I can move this over just a little bit. Okay. All right, so you have that little blue box on your paper, right? And it says on the scalp lighteners and it says off the scalp lighteners, correct? So you have 3 bullets that go into on the scalp lighteners in that little box. And the first one is, okay, that it can be applied directly on the scalp. Okay, that's your first one. It can be applied directly on the scalp. The second one's going to be it's available in oil and cream. And the third one is it has a pH of 9. And it can be mixed with an activator to increase the oxidation speed. Okay, so you're going to add that to that after the pH around 9, is it can be mixed with an activator to increase the oxidation speed, which means it's just going to make it work faster. Has anybody ever mixed bleach before? Like on the scalp bleach? Okay, well, normally when you're mixing color, right, you're usually mixing 2 ounces of color and 2 ounces of developer. Then you just decide whether it's 20, 30, 40, whatever volume you're going to use, right? But when you mix bleach, you're usually going to mix 4 ounces of clear developer, which is like not a cream developer, it'd be a clear developer. And then you're going to, I just let the last person in. Yeah, it comes up on my screen when I look see them. Okay, that's okay. Okay. So that's that. So it's 4 ounces of developer, your clear developer, and then you're going to add a little package of powder. It's kind of like an activator, and you shake it up until all the powder is dissolved in there. Okay, and then you're either going to add your cream or your liquid, another 2 ounces of that, and then you're going to mix that together. So it actually comes out to like a thick kind of creamy or oily kind of base, I guess you could say. You could be applying it with a brush or a bowl. Excuse me, a brush or a bottle. So does everyone have that filled into their workbook so far? Okay, I'm just looking around to see if I can get people to give me some answers. Remember, I can't see you, all of you. I can see some of you. I can see the ones that are sleeping. Okay. All right, so we're going to move on. We're to off the scalp. Okay. That's our next one over here. And this one also has 3, but it only says 2 here. So the first one on off the scalp is it cannot be applied to the scalp. Okay. Cannot be applied to the scalp. The second one is going to be, it's in a powder form and it can irritate the scalp. So it's in a powder form and it can irritate the scalp. And then your third one is going to be, it's stronger when it's mixed with hydrogen peroxide. Okay, it's stronger when mixed with hydrogen peroxide. Who did I just let into this room?
Isabella. It was me. Oh.
Thank you, hon. I knew I just couldn't remember what I was talking. All right. Okay.
I just came in right now too.
Okay, I got you, Isabella.
All right, thank you.
Not a problem. Okay, so this off the scalp lightener. What's kind of funny is nowadays your on the scalp can be powder too, but back in the day it was separate. You know, the other one was cream or oil bleach and you didn't mix it, and the powder was only used for off the scalp for highlighting. Okay, and I've used when I've had to decolorize something. Let's say someone got too dark of a color on there when I was trying to do a tint back or something and it went too dark and I needed to remove some of that color. I can either use a color remover or I can use bleach, but I'd use a powder bleach with water instead of developer. So it'll be not as fast acting, okay? But I can control the lift as I'm working with it. So that's another way of actually doing it. Okay, who did I just let in now? Who just came into the room? Speak up.
Me.
Who's me?
Christian.
Christian, okay, thank you. When I start talking, I can't remember who I let in. That's why I'm like making sure. All right, so everybody understand that? Did you get your third little bullet? Okay, that it's stronger when it's mixed with hydrogen peroxide. That's not on this page. All right, so then we're going to go into, these are just swatches, just that you'll go through in the classroom. So I'm going to kind of speed through that. And we're going to go down to where it says developers. I wish it would just go page by page, but it doesn't. Okay. Basically, they're just showing you, you start off with the same color that's on the left side. And depending on how long you leave that lightener on there, you can see the different shades that it comes up. Different amounts of time will take off more or less color. Here we go again. Have you guys even done this part of it yet? Those swatches yet? No?
Yeah, I think we did.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did it already.
I like to find out when you're doing bleach or something and you just take like 40 volume, which you should never use 40 volume with bleach. Okay, but say you use 40 volume because it's going to come up really fast. The hair doesn't feel like hair anymore. It feels like straw. And then we could bring the other one up to that same color, but it takes longer to get there, but the hair has integrity. It's a lot better shape than what we had done. Okay, so this is basically going over those two colors. When you started out before, it was like a brownish shade, and then you went to a pale yellow. And then when you recolorize it, these are your toners, okay? Your intensifiers or neutralizers. Okay. Double process, we just went through that, where it's bleached and,
I missed two of the, where it says lightener choices, apply on the scalp for, and I think Redina missed it too.
Off scalp, you mean?
Where it says lightener choices, there is apply on the scalp and a blank and apply off.
Okay. On the scalp is for full design, and off the scalp is for highlighting.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
No problem. Did you get the little blue box filled into you?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, the other one.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, it's still coming down here, going through all these little light shades. Come on. We'll get to the developers here soon. All right, here we go. Okay, so developers are mixed either in a glass or plastic bowl. Since mixing hydrogen peroxide in a metal bowl may cause it to become weak. Okay. The manufacturers will indicate the shelf life is usually 3 years as long as you put the lid back on there tightly, like you're supposed to, okay? And instruct the store when you place it in a cool, dry place so that it's not out in the sunlight, okay? You can dilute using the below guidelines if lower volume developers are not available. So if you want to make a 15 volume, okay, it's gonna be 3 parts 20 to 1 part 0, okay? Or if it's 10 volume and you want to make it 3, it just gives you the formulations. I'm actually going to leave that up there so you guys can copy that because that's great information right there. When you're mixing it with water, you have to remember you have to use distilled water. You can't just use tap water. Okay, because you're going to end up with some funky colors if you do. In your book, it says developers with a pH of 2.5 to 4.5 are oxidizing agents used with demi-permanent and permanent colors, lighteners and toners. So is that filled into your book already?
Yes.
Okay. Then it says need to be mixed with ammonia or other alkaline compounds to become active. Okay. So your fill in right there is need to be mixed with ammonia or other alkaline compounds to become active. Okay, when we were talking about our permanent colors, remember I told you you would have to have a lightener and a oxidizing agent. That's basically that alkaline product or ammonia that makes your permanent hair colors work with the developer. Okay. Does everybody have this little formula down yet? Okay, I'm gonna screenshot here, move on. Okay. All right, on your next page, let me go back here a minute. On the page 357, right? It has hydrogen peroxide at the top of your study guide, right? Okay, it says hydrogen peroxide is the most commonly used developer. The first bullet says measured by volume in the United States and percentages in Europe. So those two fill-ins were volume and percentages. Okay, the second bullet is always mix hydrogen peroxide in a glass or plastic bowl. And then the shelf life is usually 3 years. That's what you're going to fill in. So going back to like these formulations right here, I worked in a salon where there was 17 stylists in there. Okay, and every one of us did color. So my boss, it wasn't feasible for him to buy like 20 volume, 40 volume, whatever. He would buy 100 volume, and then we would have to dilute it when we were mixing it because he was tired of like 17 people using the developer, and you'd go back there and open it up and you'd pour it in, and then you'd leave the bottle open. He said, I'm just tired of wasting product like that. So I'm going to buy 100 proof, and then you're going to mix the volume that you need by putting the hydrometer in there. And so once you mix the two formulations, the water, distilled water, by the way, and your 100 proof, you would drop this little meter in there and it would float and tell you whether it was 5% or 10 volume, 20 volume, 30 volume, whatever volume you needed. But it was a lot cheaper than having to rebuy all of those 20 and 30 volumes when people would leave the bottles open. So in order for the product to work for 3 years or be active for 3 years, it has to have the cap on it tightly. Okay, and you should always check that volume, especially if you're not the only one using the developer in the salon. Make sure there's a meter there that you can check, because if it's not the correct percentage because somebody left the cap off, your color is going to be not what you wanted it to be. All right, so I'm going to move on to your metallics, vegetables and metallic compound dyes. Okay, so your vegetable dyes are the most common. It's known as henna. Henna can come into reds, but now it's come into like coffee that they use for browns. Okay, it's kind of like a pasty kind of color. It looks like baby diarrhea to me. You've seen it, you've used it either for your hands when you're putting the painting on your hands, but it's kind of a messy product. It can penetrate the cortex of the hair and it causes a buildup. Okay, so it's not going to lighten the hair. So every application you put on there, it builds up like product buildup on the outside of the hair shaft. So in order to do any type of professional color, or let's say a perm or a relaxer, you would have to remove that henna with a certain formulation to get it off the hair. Otherwise, the perm or any other chemical that you're going to use afterwards is not going to be even all the way through. So we don't actually do processing over henna. So we've got to remove that first. Okay, metallic dyes, these are same thing. They're known as progressive dyes. They turn darker with each application. These are the ones that you've heard about just for men products that they buy over the counter, where they just apply one layer of it and then they kind of like look less gray, and then the next time that they put it on, they're even less grayer than that. So basically it's a buildup product also. And then you have compound dyes, which are combinations of metallics and vegetable dyes. I don't know even what you could call that, or what product would be like that, but I've given you examples for the vegetables and the metallics. I don't know what the compounds are now. But in your workbook, okay, your vegetable, metallic, and compound dyes, the use is discouraged since they are unreliable and sometimes unsafe. So they're the least common types of hair coloring produced today, and they're not really professional, so that's why we don't use them. Then it goes into vegetable dyes, and it says a vegetable dye utilizes natural products to color the hair. So next to henna, you're going to write reddish highlights. Okay, and next to chamomile, you're going to write golden highlights. So you have reddish highlights and golden highlights. But you can add the browns too. The browns, they just use the coffee beans. They just, after you've made a product coffee that's really strong, you take the grounds out and you use that for the coloring in your henna. Okay, your metallics, they're also known as, go ahead.
How does chamomile lighten your hair?
Well, it doesn't really lighten it. It's just giving a golden highlight. So the hair has to be blonde to begin with in order to get that. It's used similar to like, you know how you can use shampoos that have a little bit of blonde in it? It's not going to make you blonde. If you're not blonde already, it's not going to show up, okay? But what the chamomile does, it just gives it a little golden color to it, kind of like a rinse, I guess you could say. Does that make sense? That's how much color you're actually going to get. It's not really a lot. It's, you know, just a little tint to it.
That makes sense.
Yeah. But it's not going to lighten the hair. The hair has to be lightened already. And I think of it like a shampoo, or a rinse. More of a rinse than a shampoo, because I think it would stay in with a shampoo, but it doesn't really stay in with the rinses. Metallic dyes now, that fill in, it's going to say as known as also the progressive dyes. They're not recommended again because the metals do not mix with the other chemicals that we use in salon services. That's why we don't do it. There is a formulation, I think in your textbook, it talks about alcohol and some other product. I forgot the actual ingredients that we have to do to remove it, but it does have to be removed in order to use a professional product on top of it. So it says down here, okay, your compound dyes are the combinations of metallics and vegetables. Okay, so those are your last two fill-ins. And then it says designing a color. And this is something that each one of you can actually do because part of your little homework today. It says, be sure to have a thorough conversation with your client, and whoever's in the house, you're going to have this conversation with them. They're going to be your client today. All right. You want to make sure that you're fully aware, or she's fully aware of what he or she has in mind, and that you write down these 3 questions that you should always ask yourself before designing the color. Okay. What do you think those 3 things are going to be?
What does she have in her hair?
And what else?
Does
Any
she
like
take any medications?
right? Any artificial pigment, right?
Yeah.
That's the first one. Okay. And then any medications?
Yeah. And then
And how about what color does she want?
yeah.
But the first 2 were great. They really were good. They were good. Okay. So what color is she looking for? Okay. But another 3 things we can also figure out is like, what type of color does she want? Does she want a temporary? Does she want a semi-permanent? Does she want a semi-demi? Does she want a lightener? Those are all things that you're going to be asking, right? So it's kind of neat that I'd like you to just think of what you would ask your client when they were getting a color. They came into you and they just said, I want to be a blonde. Let's just say our client is now level 4. So what are the questions you're going to want to know when you're asking her, talking to her? Okay, is there any color on your hair right now? And if there is, does she know what it is? Because what would happen if I decided to do a bleach on her and she had metallics on her hair? Remember the story I told you about me? My client, I pulled all that hair through those little frosting cap and she didn't tell me what was on her hair. And when I pulled the cap off, so did her hair. It came off with the cap. So I just like, oh my God. I'm looking at my teacher and I'm like, what happened? And he's like, I told you she wasn't a real blonde. And that's what he basically said to me, you should be able to tell that there's something on her hair. Because no matter what, every one of you, since you've been in this school so far, even if you're a brand spanking new, you should be able to tell whether somebody has virgin hair or not. Even blindfolded, you should be able to feel it. Because virgin hair has a silk touch to it, I guess you could say. And then hair that either has perm or relaxer or any type of color on it, it actually changes the texture of it. So you can feel it. It doesn't feel like it's virgin hair anymore. Okay. So if you don't know what it is and she doesn't know what it is, you better test it before you give her any type of color on top of that. Okay. Or bleach. So that you know that your colors are going to come out all right. Otherwise, you're going to be messing with a lot of stuff or maybe no hair at all. Like me. It's scary. All right, turn to page 358 in your study guide, okay? And it says designing the color, and it talks about the sculpted form. This may serve as an inspiration for color placement. Okay, so that's your first fill-in right there. When more than one color is added to the surface, textural qualities are achieved. Textural qualities are achieved. Okay, so when we're talking about hair color essentials, right? Like what type of color does she want? Is she going to want a non-oxidative, which would fall under the temporary semi-permanent colors? Your temporary are going to add tone or highlights to a specific area, but they're only going to rinse completely out. Remember, shampoo it in, and then it rinses out when you shampoo it out. Okay, the semi-permanent is going to add tonal value and impart some shine, but it doesn't lighten the natural melanin. It will gradually fade, so it can last up to, it says 4 to 6 shampoos. I'm glad they're saying that now instead of 4 to 6 weeks like they used to. Okay, because when people shampoo their hair twice, okay, that's 2 shampoos, that's just not one. All right, they can last longer, okay, if you don't shampoo as often, okay? They can have effect on the porous hair, and when the heat is applied, it can actually take some of the color out. I don't know if you've ever seen, there was a commercial, I guess, that showed what happens to your hair when you're colorizing it with semi-permanent hair color. And as soon as you stuck the flat iron on top of it, it actually just took the color right out of it. So because it wasn't really in there well, it was just a semi-permanent, it literally lifted that color right off with a curling iron instead of just like washing it out. All right. It can have a permanent effect on chemically relaxed or lightened hair because it's already pre-porous. So you have to be careful. Okay, and it may just like actually grab onto that hair, but then it rinses completely out a lot quicker too. So there's 2 ways that can happen. All right, now if we're going to use an oxidative product, this is going to be our long-lasting semi-demis. They can add tone or darken the existing color, but they can't lighten. Okay, they can't lighten the natural melanin or previously colored hair. Okay, color doesn't lift color. Retouches may be required every 4 to 6 weeks, so they might be a line of demarcation right there. Okay. Then you have your permanent hair colors. Okay, these can tone, they can darken, they can lighten the natural melanin in a single process. They cannot lighten previously colored hair. Again, color does not lift color. All right. It says cannot lighten previously colored hair, remains on the hair until it is cut off or removed by a chemical means such as with a lightener or a color remover. Retouches may be required every 4 to 6 weeks, depending on how fast the hair grows. Okay. People always tell me, oh, my hair never grows. I'm like, lighten your hair, you'll be able to see the line of demarcation. It grows. Seems like it grows a lot faster too. But it doesn't, it's the normal speed. Okay, here we go into our lighteners. Okay, on the scalp lightener, it can decolorize that melanin. It's used to achieve colors not obtainable with a single process. So it's gentle enough to be used on the scalp. Okay, remember that's like the level 9 on the pH scale. And then you have off the scalp lighteners, which can decolorize that melanin. They're used for off the scalp techniques like highlighting, okay, surface painting, frosting cap, or to achieve colors that are not attainable with a single process. Again, which means it's trying to remove that color and then allowing you to put another color in there. Okay, what else have we got here? Okay, the products that we're going to be using with that. Hydrogen peroxide is known as your developer. Okay, basically just another name for it, or it's like brand name, I guess you could say. It aids in the formation of the color dye molecules and is used as an oxidizing agent in the hair coloring. And it's available in different strengths. You can get it from 2% to 3% to 5%, 10% to 15 to 20 to 30 to 40 and even 50 and then 100. So fillers, now these are just straight colors or conditioners. They will even out the porosity of the hair or create at least an even base of color for the final color to be attached to. Okay, it can be added to the color formula to help the hair hold the color and prevent off-color results. Then you have concentrates, intensifiers, and drabbers. Okay, these intensifiers or neutralizes color. They're mixed into your color formulation or they're used alone on pre-lightened hair to create that vibrant color statement. Remember I was talking about if you're trying to do a tint back to natural, right? And you're going to have to fill in the missing pigment first before you decide to put that color onto her. So if she was like a medium brown or a light brown and you wanted to go back to that after she's been blonde, you're going to have to put some warmth back in there, because if you decide to just put a brown on top of that blonde hair, she's going to probably go green, okay, because she doesn't have any of that warmth. You removed all of that when you lightened her. So sometimes having to put that filler in first and then put your actual formulation of color on top to get the color that you actually want. All right. This is just review that we're going through right now. Okay, your protective barrier cream. This is going to go around the client's hairline to protect it from irritation and so that it doesn't stain around her hairline. I don't know if you guys have actually done anyone with color, but when you're rinsing the color off and you've got color around her skin, okay, you're going to get that hair and skin just a little wet. Do not add shampoo to it. So if you've got tint or color on her skin, you can actually kind of make a lather with the water and the tint and kind of emulsify it around the skin and rinse it off of the water. The minute you put that shampoo on there and you haven't actually taken that color off of her skin, she's going to stain and you're not going to be able to get it off. So you've got to rinse it, add a little water to it, basically emulsify it kind of like a shampoo, but without shampoo. Okay, you're trying to lather that up and that will actually rinse off that color on her skin. But when you try to take it off with straight shampoo.
So do you put soap or are you just putting water with the color? And just...
Yeah, it's just water. So like she's got it all around her hairline right here, okay? So as I'm rinsing, I'm gonna get a little bit on her skin and then I'm just gonna like work in little circles all the way around. It's gonna loosen that color up because color will kind of remove color if that's easier for you to remember off the skin, okay? But the minute you add that shampoo to it, it locks it into her skin. So you want to like just add the water and kind of mush it around with your fingers. Okay, that's how you're going to get that color off. But if you try to get the color off and then put shampoo right on it, it's going to stain it in there and it's not going to be easy to get out. If you really have to get it out and we don't have a color remover, this sounds really crazy, but cuticle remover actually works. So do cigarette ashes, but you're not going to do that on a client. These are ways to get that color remover off. Okay. You have to remember she might be a little sensitive because if that color's been sitting on her hairline, okay, instead of that protective cream that's supposed to protect it, she can be a little bit on the sensitive side. So you don't want to put bleach on there, you know, to try and get that stain out. So you want to try and get it off as best you can with just water and a little bit, making a lather out of the color in the water. Talcum powder, okay, this allows the gloves to be put on and taken off with ease. You use it inside the gloves. I don't know about you, but it dries my hands out, so I can't handle that. Just get a different type of a glove. And the color stain remover. Okay, this is where it's going to remove the stain from the skin. And again, cuticle remover works in a pinch if you don't have it. We're talking old school here. We've had to do it without for a long time. All right. So now I'm going to move down to here where it talks about hair color techniques. Okay. So we're going to move past the existing and desired level, okay? Because it says, what are the 3 questions you should ask yourself when you're thinking about color placement, okay? Basically, it's telling you that, the existing color that you have and the desired level you're going to go. But let's move on to that zonial first, okay? A zonial pattern, okay? These are patterns that will subdivide the head into multiple areas to create color design with a combination of colors. So your fill in on that one is going to be head, okay? And then it says fringe, top, crown, nape, and perimeter are all examples of areas or zones, okay? So that one was crown and perimeter on that. Then it says color within the shapes. The shapes are used to create color designs or patterns. The size and position of the shapes are decided by the design decisions. Shapes are used rectangle, triangle, and a circle. So in this one with the color with the shapes, you should have patterns, design, decisions, rectangle, triangle, and circle. I'm looking over here and I don't see anybody in my classroom. Okay, let me see some faces. Are you guys all here?
I'm still here.
That are
Okay.
you?
What was the last? Yeah.
The last one? Okay. Shapes used are rectangle, triangle, and circle. Okay. All right. And then it goes into color application techniques, correct? All right, and that's basically what you see on the screen. It's telling you the placement of color along the strand, the base, the mid-strand ends, or any combination. So it's telling you where you will find that. At the scalp, when we're trying to get color close to the scalp, it's going to be on what's called the base. When it's in the mid part of the strand, it's the mid-strand. And when you're only going to put it on the ends, it's going to be the ends. So do you understand what that picture looks like, you guys? All right, in your workbook, it says techniques described according to placement of color along the strand. So the first one's going to be a base to ends. And this is when you're actually applying color that's going darker than the natural color, okay? It's used to add tone or to darken the existing color along the strand, also known as virgin darker technique. So your first one is going to be darken and then virgin darken. Basically, they're telling you how you're going to apply it. So if I was doing, okay, a virgin color or even a touch-up, I'm going to start at the base if I'm going darker. If I'm going lighter, I'm going to be mid-strand, like half an inch away from the scalp and through the ends. Okay. The other combination you need to know, if I'm going lighter, I'm going to start in the back. If I'm going darker, I'm going to start in the front, those front two sections. You guys understand that? Does everyone understand what I just said?
What did you say?
Okay, so basically, if you're going darker than the natural shade, your application is going to be from the scalp to the ends, okay? If I'm going lighter than the natural hair, I'm going to go half an inch away from the scalp, through the ends, and then I'll come back up to the scalp after the rest of the hair is processed. Because if I applied it from the scalp out, when I'm going lighter, she's going to be lighter at the scalp area and a little bit darker than on the rest of the hair shaft. So you have to keep it away from the scalp first because there's that half inch of heat that the body puts out so that it actually comes up evenly. Okay. So the next one is going to be the mid-strand to ends, then base, means lighter results. Okay, it's used to lighten the existing color to mid-strand base, and it's used for retouch color, service, or on new growth only. So you should have lighten and retouch on this one. Okay, on your next page, though, this is basically, you're going to fill in those little areas, okay? So you see in on 359, the first illustration, that box right there, you're going to actually draw a section of hair, just like this picture right here. Draw it just from scalp to ends. And you're going to I don't know if you want to use a marker or whatever, but you're going to go from scalp to the ends. Okay, you're going to leave it off of the ends. Okay, and you're just going to kind of color over it so you know that that's what you're supposed to be doing. So the first one's going to be base to ends, going darker. Okay, the second one, you're going to make another strand of hair just like this, and you're going to color it mid-strand through ends, and then base, back to base. So you're just going to put it on 1/2 inch away from that scalp and then just go all the way through the ends. And then your base is just going to be your retouch. So you're going to go just from the base, scalp to the base. Let me ask you something. What's the difference between to the ends and through the ends? Do you know? If I said base to ends, am I coloring the ends? Anyone know?
Can you repeat it one more time?
If I say I'm coloring the hair base to ends, am I coloring the hair from the base all the way through her ends on base to ends?
You would, is it a virgin or is it?
Well, it'll just, the information will actually just say your color application is going to be from base to ends.
So yeah,
that
you
means
would be doing the ends.
Leave it off the ends. Yeah, when it says to, you leave it off. When it says through, you color the ends, okay? The easiest way to remember that is this: I'm going to walk to the door or I'm going to walk through the door. Makes sense then, right?
Yeah.
It says to the ends, I'm only going to go and I'm going to leave the ends off. There's not going to be color on it, okay? But if it says through, it means I'm going to go all the way through those ends. And only when you're going lighter will you go through the ends, okay? Because the ends are going to grab the color the most probably, so you're going to leave that off them and not let that color sit the entire time right there. You're just going to pick it up at maybe the last 5 minutes, 10 minutes of the processing and put it on those ends. Any questions so far? Okay, so you understand if we're going darker, right, we're going to start at her scalp, right? But if I've sectioned the head into 4 sections, where am I going to start, in the front or the back, if I'm going darker?
The back.
Back.
I'm actually really go in the front because the clients usually have gray hair there. So usually going darker, in it will say going darker or covering gray. Okay, so you would always start in the front 2 sections. If you're going lighter, you're always going to start in the back 2 sections. Now, that's what a textbook would tell you to do. But you know what? If you really wanted to pay attention to what's going on, when you're out in the sun, your scalp, the top part of your head gets lighter than the bottom part, right? If you think about it, the hair underneath is not going to be as light as the hair on top because the sun can't reach underneath my scalp, you know, underneath that hair. So if I was trying to make my clients look more natural, I probably would do this part right up here. Instead of deciding into 4 sections, I might just do the top part right here in my lighter and then darker underneath. Does that make sense? You're trying to make it look as natural as possible, correct?
I thought like okay, so I understand though their if with their gray hair you start in the front, but I thought like when you're coloring you start from the back section, maybe when it's not gray hair, when you're just coloring their hair.
Yeah, no, it would be from the front because the front's going to get the lightest even if it's dark. And the back's going to be darker anyways, right? Because think about it, you're not seeing the back of their head and they've got more hair on the top in the back, right?
Right.
So the hair in the back's going to be darker. So you want it to be even, so you want to cover the front first. But, okay, that's just a textbook like analogy of what you're supposed to do, right? And that's why I went into like, if you were trying to make it look more natural, wouldn't the hair on the top part, not just in the 4 sections, but on the top part of her hair, she's going to be lighter anyways because the sun's going to hit that area, right? And the hair underneath that's going to be darker. So instead of doing my 4 sections like the book tells us to do, if I was trying to make it look more like, you know, more like the natural hair, I would probably do my lightener from here down or here up, from here up to here, right? And then the hair underneath, if I was doing my touch up, that would be my second application where it's darker. because the hair is going to be darker and naturally like that, right?
Right.
Or have I confused you?
No, I'm just processing it. I'm thinking.
Yeah, I know. I had to sit there and think about that too. I'm like, well, the textbook, okay, if I had to answer it on a test, I'd always have to do, you know, light in the back and dark in the front. But if I was trying to make my hair look really good, I would actually make it more like sunlight. The sun would hit the top part of her head and maybe around the front of her face, right? Or we always call that money piece right there. That's where you would put your lighter parts. But
So the textbook version tells us to start at the top and work our way to the back. But if we're trying to do it the way like common sense, we would do from the back to the front because it's going to be lighter in the front anyways because of the sunlight.
Okay, well, I think you got that just a little bit backwards. Okay, the textbook tells you if you were going lighter, we're just going to say lighter, right?
Right.
If you're going lighter, you're going to start in the back 2 sections, okay? Like if I sectioned her into 4, it'd be the back 2 sections I would completely cover. And then I would
we're
go
talking about if it was darker.
Okay, if it was darker and you want to go dark?
Yeah, if you were going dark for gray hair, you'd start in the front, like textbook, you start in the front and you go all the way to the back. But but you were saying that if we're talking like common sense real life, you what would you do?
I would still do the front on them to cover the gray, but I would then do most of it in the back. So instead of doing the whole front sections like they tell us to do, I would probably do from the top of their head to like right about where their temples are, okay? Because that's the part, and then the part right here in the front.
Okay.
Because that's more like natural. Does that make sense now?
Yeah.
It's just a little different on how to apply it, but that's technique, I guess you could say. Not so much about the color, but it would be technique. Because I wanted to look more natural than look like it's artificial, you know?
Right.
So who did I just let in? Now I let someone else in here.
Me. My computer died. Sorry.
Okay, who is that? Lauren?
Lauren. Yeah.
Okay, all right. You were already in here. So have I confused the crap out of you guys already? I hope not. You'll have to answer a test question by the textbook, okay? Which would be dark in the front and light in the back, okay? Just an FYI, because it always has to go back to this textbook.
Okay, thank you.
So on the test, you'd have to answer that way. It says, base to ends, darker result. It's going to add tone or darken the existing color along the entire strand. This is also known as a virgin dark technique or virgin darker. Okay, you can see how that's actually applied, right? You see, when I was talking about the natural way, look at the third picture where she's darker underneath and lighter on the top. You see that? It's on the very last picture right here.
Yeah, I see it.
Okay, that's what I was basically going for at that point. Okay, let me go to mid-strand to ends and then the base lighter because you got to come back and do that base. Okay, this is going to lighten, whoops, come back here. It's going to lighten the existing color. It's applied mid-strand, or what they basically say off the scalp, okay, but not including the porous ends. We do the porous ends if she's dark. If she's already light, you don't have to worry about it. Because if you don't, she's going to have dark ends, okay? Even though the ends may come up lighter because they're over-processed usually sometimes, you want to make sure it gets through to those ends, because when you're applying lighter colors, you've got to take smaller sections on your application. You can't take wider sections. Okay, the product is applied to the base and the porous ends later, since they lighten faster. This is also known as a virgin lightener technique, or virgin going lighter, virgin bleach, or virgin going lighter. And you see the application starts in the back. Do you see that on the very top picture? Okay, it's doing that mid section first and starts in the back of the hair, of the head. Okay. All right, then you have your retouch, which is you're only going to apply it to the base. Okay, when you're doing a bleach, you have to be very careful that you don't overlap because you can break the hair. Okay, and you're trying not to get that line in there. You want to make sure that it stays the same color. Because let's say somebody came in and they had at least 2 inches of regrowth. She wasn't just that inch of regrowth, okay? And she had 2 inches of regrowth. Do you think that if I put that bleach from the scalp to cover that whole 2 inches, what's going to happen to that hair shaft? The hair from the scalp to that 1st inch is going to be very light. In fact, it's going to be a lot lighter than the hair from the inch to the 2nd inch. Okay, because there's heat coming from that 1st inch that there isn't from the 2nd. So if somebody had 2 inches of regrowth, she's going to have 2 applications done. One to do basically that mid strand, which is only that inch that's away from the inch on her scalp. You see what I'm talking about? In the picture in the middle, she has like a 1/2 inch regrowth, or let's just say it's an inch regrowth, okay? But if the client had 2 inches, okay, that means that from the scalp to that 1st inch, she's going to have lighter hair than from the inch out to the next inch. Okay, it's not going to match because it's not going to lighten as quickly. There's no heat in that area. Does that make sense? Somebody answer me, please.
That makes sense.
Okay, because what happens, you know, you want to make sure that that color stays the same from her scalp out. So you would charge more for somebody that had to have 2 inches of bleach put on there, okay? Because you really have to wait until that 2nd inch is colored right first before you go back and put it on her scalp to that 1st inch.
So if somebody did come in that way, would it almost be like better for them
What
to
would
wait
happen
for it
if
to
you-
grow
if
out
you-
longer?
Well, no, what would happen if you put the color from the scalp to those 2 inches, okay? That inch that's away from the scalp to her hair color is going to be like a gold band because it's not going to process the same like level or go as quickly as the scalp hair is going to lift. Does that make sense now? So you have to put it from a 1/2 inch away from her scalp and then cover that little inch and wait till that's up and then go back and do from the scalp to the 1st inch. I'm going to show you here just a second. Let me shut this off for just a second. Okay. There we go. All right, I'm going to show you this right here. Okay. There's her first one, and then there's her second. Okay, so right here, I'm going to show you something. Okay, I don't know if you can see this picture. Okay, so that's the strand of hair. That first line is her scalp. You see that? That's her 1st inch, right? And there's her 2nd inch. So when we lightened her hair, we're going to have to go over and do this part first, this color that I'm doing right here. We're going to have to do that inch first and make sure that that's lifted. Then we're going to go back and then we're going to do another application on the scalp. Because if you don't, and you did it all in one big piece, that 2nd inch is going to be a band, a gold band. It's not going to come up the same. Because of the heat on her scalp, it's going to lighten her quicker. So she's going to be like a lot lighter on the scalp and then that little gold band and then the rest of her hair is going to be light. Does that make sense? So clients that wait that long, especially when they're going lighter, I charge them like a double process because I've got to do it twice. Okay, I have to let that one sit on there for at least a good 40 minutes, the first part of it, and then have to go back and do her scalp because I can't put it on at the same time. So I'm waiting for 2 like 45-minute processing times. Yeah. So you tell her, you get in here when you have an inch, no more. Otherwise I have to charge you twice. It's like, oh yeah, sure, I'll get in there, but they don't, you know what I mean? And so it ends up happening, or they decide to do it themselves. They couldn't afford to come in and have you do it. So they decided to do it themselves, that whole 2 inches. And then they're going, what happened? I got this line right here, what happened? So I always used to tell my clients, if you do your hair, it's gonna cost twice as much too, because I gotta fix the work you did. There used to be this nice little sign in the mechanics area, right? It said, if you fix your car, it's double the price than if I fix your car. Because people don't know what they're doing and you don't know what they're putting on their hair, okay? You're lucky if you can get them to admit that they did it themselves. They're like, oh no, I didn't do it. Girl, I know I didn't put that color on your head, okay? It's kind of like, did you cut your bangs? No. Okay, I didn't crooked your bangs, okay? I used to get my clients and tell them, I give you a free bang trim in between each haircut if you let me cut it, instead of you cutting it. Okay, you come in, it takes me 5 minutes. I'm not going to do anything else but trim your bangs. But if you cut your bangs, you don't get that free bang trim. It stops them from cutting their own hair. All right, any questions so far on what we've discussed? It's kind of a lot.
Yeah, Miss Jamie, I think I missed something on top completely.
On which one?
Where just right on top where it says zonal patterns.
Uh-huh.
Existing desired level, there is 1, 2, 3. Do we have to fill it up or?
Oh, where it says existing and desired level?
Yeah.
Yeah, basically they're asking, okay, the same kind of questions that we asked for the first one. Is there anything on your hair first? You know, do you have any type of color on there?
Yeah.
And then what's her existing level that she has? Whether it's virgin or not, it doesn't matter. What's the color that she has on there? And then the desired level, where does she want to go? What color,
Okay.
sorry, what color does she want to be?
Okay.
Sorry, guys, that's my alarm. Okay,
Thank you.
you're
Yeah.
welcome. Because that's what basically what we're having to ask our clients. We got to know, well, what do you want us to do? You know, I'm going to check to make sure that there's no artificial color on, that it's virgin, either or. And I just determine what level she's at, okay, and what level does she want to be, right?
Yeah.
So if I was going to check somebody's color, whether it's virgin or colored artificial pigment, where's the first place I'm going to go to check that color? On her head. No one knows? You're going to go to the back of their head, way back here, and you're going to separate that hair because that's going to give you the closest to her natural color, or natural, even artificial, because that's not getting sunlight. So it's going to be the same color you started with, or what you're supposed to have. Because again, this gets lighter, right? And this stays darker underneath. So if you're trying to find that level, you're going to have to go to the back to match it up. Okay.
Does it matter where in the back? Just like a random section, like?
Yeah, it doesn't really matter. Usually the nape is probably a good place to start.
Right.
And when I'm laying swatches, you know, those little swatches that you have, when I'm laying that across somebody's forehead to see if her color can match that, say, tone, whether it's warm or cool. Fan that color out, that little swatch. Don't hold it together where it's all grouped like this, because it looks darker than it actually is. When you fan it out, it actually gives you more of the right color that you're looking at.
Right.
Okay. So any questions? Any other questions, guys? No one has any questions? You let me do all the talking again today? All right, so you're only going to fill in those 3 on both of those sections, on page 358 and then on 357, those 2. Okay, you're going to fill in those 3 boxes. Okay, that's all I have you do, unless they have something for you to do. Did they give you a homework assignment to do today?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, there's no more questions. I'll let you guys go. All right, I'll see you tomorrow.
See you
Bye.
tomorrow.
Bye.
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 Got a chat here. Somebody's trying to tell me something. I'm like, okay, then I missed it. I guess she left. Okay. All right, I'll see you later.